Hello everyone and welcome. Let's start creating the code that we need to insert values on our database. So I'm gonna grab the files that we had in the last lecture, userform.php, where we have the form and the PHP code that handles all the information that comes from the form. Okay, and we have a simple validation here to check if everything has some value on it. Okay, so if everything has a value, we will include the connection.php. So we're gonna call this script here so we connect to our database, and then after it we can insert the values that we have on our database. So to insert some values on our database, we need to type MySQL query semicolon, and now inside a parenthesis we need to type two values. The first value is the connection to the database, which is this one here, okay, stored in this variable dbc, database connection. So let's type dbc. And remember, you are calling or including the file connection PHP, so you can use all the variables that we have in here, okay? And the second, separated by a comma, the second value separated by a comma that you want to type is the insert between double quotes, insert command or query, and make sure you type insert in capital letters. And then you type also in capital letters into, okay? You always have to type this in capital letters. Insert into whenever you want to store anything or any data into your database. So insert into, and now the name of the table, remember the name of the table was users, okay? Okay, see it here, users, this is the name of the table. So we need to type the name of the table first. So users, and now we need to type all the fields that we are inserting. And you have always to put them in order. So we have the ID, we don't need to put them, it's automatic. We need to put the first name, last name, email, gender, age, comments, and password. And the registration date is also automatic. So let's go back and type exactly how we have it in the database, okay? Make sure you write it the same way you have it here, exactly here. First name, now, comma, last name, and email, gender, age, so email, gender, age, comments, and password, okay? And that's it. Okay, after this, you need to type values with capital letters as well, parentheses again, and now you're gonna say, where do I get the information to store in these fields of table users? Well, we need to grab that information from these variables, okay? So these variables, we're gonna type between single quotes, we're gonna type the variable f name, so f name, l name, don't forget the dollar symbol, email, gender, age, comments, and finally the password. Okay, so I think we are done. Let me save this. Make sure you review this because if you have any error, if some character is missing, it will give you an error. Make sure you review this. And now, to make sure that we have everything inserted or something happened in our database, we're gonna type a little function which is called the MySQL affected rows. And basically, this will return you a value of all the affected rows in your database. Okay, so what we're going to do is create a variable called registered. And now here, let's type echo variable registered is affected. This will return a number, okay? This will return you a number of rows that are affected. So in this case, it will return 1 if this works, because all of these are in the same row in the table. Row is affected. Everything worked fine. Okay, so let's see if everything that we created here works. Let's type user form. Please complete the form. Let's type Victor. If we leave this in black and submit, error, you left some values in blank. Let's go back, refresh. We can also type just a little thing here very quickly, which is h2, and here let's style this p, and then style equals, and let's close this, and here let's type color and red. And here, let's close the paragraph. Okay, let's save this. So if we submit, there it is. Error, you left some values in blank. So let's refresh and please complete your name. Let's type email between awesome password 1 2 3 4 5, submit. Okay, so we have a warning saying, warning, MySQL affected rows expected exactly one parameter, 0 given in line 20. So we need to give a parameter to MySQL affected rows function. It says row is affected, everything worked fine, but doesn't give you a number of rows, so none of them are affected, I think. Let me check. If we go to localhost PHP myadmin and we go to my first database, users, yes, actually we have a row affected. Okay, so everything worked fine. ID1, Victor, last name, and this is the first time that we have inserted values. The only problem here is password doesn't appear anything and registration date is all in 0. So we have to see what the problem is there. But before that, let me just take a quick review on this warning here. So let's go back to the code. And first of all, here in the connection, let me take this out. We don't need this. And let's go to userform.php. And what we need in MySQL affected rows inside the parentheses is to put the variable of the connection here. Okay, I forgot that. So let's go back now to the form. Let's refresh and let's type another name. Let's type John. Last name is John Smith. Email, you can type whatever you want. gmail.com. Mail, between comments, whatever. Password 12345. Submit. Okay, there it is. Perfect. One row is affected. Everything worked fine. Okay, so let's go back to the users, and there it is. Okay, so we have now two users registered, Victor and John, and you see the email here, and then we have a problem in the password. The password doesn't appear, and the registration date is 000. So let's see what the problem is with the password. Okay, first of all, we have a little problem here. This shouldn't be here, text area. Let's take this out. Now, besides this, you have to go to connection.php, and what it's causing the problem is that you have password here. Okay, variable password that returns nothing. And you called the connection.php here, which calls the password. Okay, so you are declaring password here, okay, which is whatever comes from post and the form, which is the password of the user. Later on, you will include connection and you give a new value to the same variable with no value in it. Okay, so this is causing the problem with no password inserted in our database. So what we're going to do is here, let's give it a password 1. Let's change the name. So this is very important. Don't use the same variables in two different files. Otherwise, it will cause problems. A value on a variable will overwrite the other. Okay, so now we have everything ready. I think we are done. Okay, let's go back to the form. Okay, so let's start and type Joe Smith, email, hello, gmail.com, whatever, between 30 and 60, hi, and password 12345, submit. One row is affected, everything worked fine. Now let's go back here, users, and there it is. Okay, so Joe Smith, hello, and 12345, the password. So regarding the problem of the registration date, this is a little bit more complex, and we will cover how to store registration dates and how to store exact time for hours, minutes, and seconds with PHP and MySQL later on. But in order to avoid this problem for now, let's drop this field, okay? And make sure you try to run again another form. Johnny Smith. In here you can type whatever email you want. Mail 12345, submit. One row is effective. Let's go back here. There it is. So see you guys in the next lecture.